Hi folks, Dave here. Having done some videos about specific film music record labels like Various Saraband and Quartet and obviously Film Score Monthly and so on, I thought it'd be prudent to just quickly run through a classical label who've got a film music imprint that is very good, because they've been talked about much in the film music community recently, and that's Chandos. They're a British-based label. They primarily do sort of 20th century classical music and a lot of British classical music, but they do cover other stuff as well. And they've got a sort of sub-label called Chandos Movies, which covers re-recordings of lots of film music by Golden Age composers mostly, especially those sorts of composers who did both classical and film music, but again not exclusively so. So I thought I'd quickly run through what I've got by Chandos. So the first few are actually classical discs. Malcolm Arnold's Symphonies numbers 3 and 4. This is Richard Hickok's and the London Symphony Orchestra. Quite a few of these are. Like, for example, the next one, which is Doreen Carwithen. This has got the wonderfully named ODTAA, One Damn Thing After Another, along with the Suffolk Suite and Concerto for Piano and Strings, and so on. Then there's a disc of Ruth Gipp's, a couple of her symphonies, and this is the BBC National Orchestra of Wales under Rumen Gamba, and Rumen Gamba is a name that will crop up again in the movies section in a minute. Then I've got quite a bit of Eric Korngold, because I rather like Korngold. So we've got this disc, which is String Quartets, performed by the Doric String Quartet. And this disc, which is various bits and bobs: Military March, Cello Concerto, Symphonic Serenade, Piano Concerto. And this, which is the Sursum Corda and Sinfonietta. And that, which is the Symphony, F sharp major, not a common key for symphonies apparently, but one that Korngold rather liked. Then, sort of out of the habit of 20th century stuff, we have a Rossini Stabat Mater, which I bought almost entirely because there's a really good piece of the Stabat Mater on what is otherwise Simon Boswell's score for the film Hardware, and that prompted me to get a disc of the whole thing. Then there's a Vaughan Williams London Symphony, as it says there, the original 1913 version of Symphony No. 2. I picked this one up in a charity shop only last month for £1.50, so that's fair enough. So that's the classical bits. Then we get on to the movies imprint. And we run through these alphabetically by composer. So there's one of John Addison. This is lots of short bits from many different films. I Was Monty's Double, Reach for the Sky, Strange Invaders, Tom Jones, Charge the Light Brigade, Torn Curtains, Sleuth, all sorts of bits and bobs. Then I've got two discs of William Alwyn, and you might see that one's called The Film Music of William Alwyn and one's called The Film Music of William Alwyn Volume 4. I haven't got 2 or 3. Volume 1 again is lots of short pieces. The Black Tent, On Approval, Master of Ballantrae, Fortune is a Woman, and so on and so on and so on. Number 4 has got some longer suites and therefore fewer of them. Odd Man Out, History of Mr. Polly, The Fallen Idol, 20 odd minutes of each of those. As you see, we've got Rumon Gamba and Richard Hickox cropping up in both of those. And then we have some Malcolm Arnold, volumes 1 and 2. Volume 1 is dominated by Bridge on the River Kwai, understandably enough. There's also stuff from Hobson's Choice, Into the Sixth Happiness, Whistle Down the Wind and the Sound Barrier. And then by the time we get to Volume 2, it's much shorter bits. Trapeze, David Copperfield, Bells of St Trinians, and all sorts of other bits and bobs. Yeah, these are often reconstructions by people like Philip Lane and Christopher Palmer. Then this one, which I acquired very recently and have not actually got around to listening to yet, is Arnold Backs, which consists entirely of music from 2 films, as it says up there. Oliver Twist and Malta GC. Get to that soon. Then we have a Sir Arthur Bliss one, which is dominated primarily by Things to Come. Got some other bits and bobs. That's why I did a sort of custom sleeve design there based on Things to Come, just for a bit of fun. There's Francis Chagrin. That's a large number of shorter pieces. Helter Skelter and Inspector Calls, The Culdit Story, Greyfriars Bobby, so on and so forth. There's Brian Easdale. Obviously the most famous of those is The Red Shoes, hence the ballet image there. There's Black Narcissus, Battle of the River Plate, and other bits and bobs as well. This is a twofer. It's got some music by Constant Lambert, Merchant Seaman, Anna Karenina, and some by Lord Berners, Champagne Charlie, Nicholas Nickleby, The Halfway House. Clifton Parker, dominated by a suite from Treasure Island, but there's other stuff, Sword and the Rose, Sink the Bismarck, Blue Lagoon, and so on. There's an Alan Rawsthorne. You notice I'm going through these alphabetically. That's dominated by The Captive Heart, Burma Victory, The Dancing Fleece, Where No Vultures Fly. Really famous films, these. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, you've got the BBC Phil and Rumon Gamba for a lot of these. Similarly, Gerard Sherman, Dr. Sin alias the Scarecrow, Conga, The Ceremony, The Gambler. Yeah, and more. Then there's 2 volumes of Shostakovich. We have the Maxim trilogy, Man with the Garden, Girl Alone, and King Lear on that one. And we've got the Golden Mountains and the Gadfly on that one, along with a shorter piece called Volochev Days. I don't know what that is. Then we have Misha Spoliansky, Northwest Frontier, Signs of the River, The Man Who Could Work Miracles, King Solomon's Mines, and there's a piece at the end from St. Joan. St. Joan is a very good score. And then we have Ralph Vaughan Williams. Now I've had that one, which is, says it is volume 1 for a long time. And that's got Scott the Antarctic, of course, Coastal Command Suite and The People's Land. But it has been recently pointed out, and most of the film music community have rushed away and bought this. Chandos were selling this, which is a box set of that plus volumes 2 and 3 for a fiver. So yeah, that's a bargain even if you've got one of them already. Inside they each come in a fairly plain card slip case, but you do get the full booklet like you would have done if you bought them in jewel case form. So all the informative blurb about all the films. So that's that. And when you buy that for a fiver, you also get the opportunity to pick up for nothing one of their little sampler discs. So obviously, me having purchased mine in September, I got the October 22 sampler. It's only about 20 minutes, but yeah, 20 minutes of free music. It's classical stuff. This one's got Berg and Schubert and some more of Ruth Gibbs and someone called Alberto Hemsey, of whom I've not heard. But yeah, so that, a bunch of Chandos stuff. They're always very well recorded, and they're always very well played. Nice and crisp and sharp and clear. Good stuff. All recommended. That's all from me in this strangely coloured artificial light of the evening. See you next time. Stay fresh, cheese bags.